Sri Akal, welcome to I'm a Brown Girl. My name's Amma. If you listened to last week's episode, you'll know what today's episode is about. Before I get into it, I've woken up quite early. I've had a cold shower. There's no hot water or gas in my current place. I've moved to my new place, so you can see my new room at the moment, and it's quite empty. And later on, I'm going to a festival, which will be Reading. I'm super excited because I'm seeing the love of my life, which is Lana Del Rey, with the love of my life. But I've made sure to wake up super early to get this recorded and posted on the Monday at 7 p.m. because I want to stay consistent and I want to make sure that no matter what I have going on, I will make sure I post on the day. So I've been on this earth for 24 years, and by the time this episode comes out, I'll be 25. So the only right thing to do is share 25 things I've learned whilst being here on this floating rock. This will vary between advice, lessons, personal experiences, and what I hope to achieve for the future. Like all of us, we all go through highs and hardships. We all learn from our experiences in the hopes of gaining wisdom or knowledge. So I hope by sharing my few stories, lessons, and advice, you too can feel all right. As always, let's get straight into it because I value your time, the time you spend listening to me, going out of your way to engage with my content. I'm so deeply grateful for you because you have no idea how much this podcast means to me. It literally motivates me to keep going when everything else around me feels like it's falling apart. The first piece of advice comes as no surprise, but it's to not compare your journey. You hear this often because it's true, yet so many people, including myself, struggle with this. Hence why you hear it a lot. Comparing yourself to someone else's journey will rob you of your own joy, and it makes you less grateful. If only you could foresee your future from your present self, maybe you wouldn't compare so much and your time will come. You'll just have to hope you'll appreciate it when your time does come. Number 2, prioritize your health. I used to be 18 stone when I was younger, and I decided to take my health seriously because I knew there was a certain way I wanted to look by the time I was 20. My health and fitness initially was all for aesthetics and for the way that I wanted to look. But the real journey was the mental side of health, fitness, and nutrition. It's been almost 8 years since I've started going to the gym, and it's been a journey to say the least because I suffered with things like bulimia, being underweight, undereating, overtraining, overeating, body dysmorphia, having an unhealthy relationship with food in general, cancelling dinner plans because I was so afraid to go out and eat and worry about the calories and what was in the food and if it fit my diet. I used food to self-harm a lot of the time. If I knew what I knew now, I could have saved myself from a lot of pain. As soon as I understood that food is meant to be enjoyed, it's supposed to nourish you, that tracking calories and constantly being on a diet and being afraid to eat is just so exhausting, that I'd rather eat some fresh greens and a home-cooked meal, knowing that it's going to make me feel good on the inside and outside, but understanding that there's no such thing as good or bad food. It's just nutritional value. That don't feel like you can't go out and eat what you want, but also understanding that there are certain foods that will make you feel good is important. Also actually listening to your body as well. So if you're hungry, eat. If you're not, don't eat. Food is meant to be enjoyed. Don't let it control you. Number 3, boundaries. Note to self, stop disrespecting your boundaries. Stick to them to avoid your mental peace being disturbed. I always talk about how important boundaries are on this podcast, especially when it comes to navigating my family. Yet somehow, I still find myself in situations that I don't want to be in. And when that does happen, I remind myself to be kind to myself and to not beat myself up about it, because the more you exercise boundaries, you'll find yourself to be more at peace. Number 4, friendships. 2023 for me was the year of reestablishing my friendships. I swear, friendship heartbreaks are the worst. It literally made me lose weight. I feel like I was going insane. But looking back, it's just what happens. I just grew up and I grew apart. The things that I wanted from my friendship weren't being reciprocated, and perhaps vice versa, I maybe wasn't reciprocating what their needs were. There's still times that I do think about my old friends, and it used to make me sad, but I think now looking back, I'm just grateful for the memories that we have, that they were there for me during my most darkest times. And the banter that we had is something that I will cherish forever. But when I did decide to let go and make room for new connections, the people I've met in my 20s are people I cannot imagine my life without. So when you do make room, the universe will reward you with people who will reciprocate you and love you and go above and beyond to show you how wonderful and beautiful platonic love really is. The love I have for my friends is so deep, and I'm in complete awe when I'm around them. For a long time, I was almost in denial that I'm friends with these incredible people because they're friends that I've always wanted. So for a minute, I did feel like, wow, is this even real? Like, pinch me. This is too good to be true. But it wasn't. They are amazing, and I feel like I've struck gold. Number 5, if your job makes you miserable, see the bigger picture, then leave. I've worked in jobs where the pay was super low, but the job was super fun. I've met the kindest team and an unforgettable manager. Shout out to Derek. I love him very much. He's my ex-manager. But on the flip side, I've worked in jobs that have paid me far more, but I was deeply anxious, deeply depressed, and treated so awfully. Looking back, I don't regret working in either because I've learned something from it. As happy as I was in my first job, it just wasn't feasible because living in London is very expensive. But then working in a toxic work environment equips you with skills for the future at a very hefty cost. Working under the white man was possibly the worst thing ever. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. And eye roll, deep sigh, honestly, just the worst. But I also know I can take what I've learned there and play the corporate game if I wanted to. If you do work in corporate, just remember that everyone is a little bit dead on the inside. A lot of them don't have a lot going on for themselves and validate themselves by their job title. So whatever they say, just try not to take it personally because remember, they're slightly dead on the inside. If the job you're in adds to the bigger picture, then obviously make that calculated decision to figure out how you're going to maneuver through that environment. But if you're like me and you want more for yourself and you don't want to work in a hostile environment, please make a plan of how you're going to quietly quit. It's just not worth the anxiety and PTSD you will gain working in a toxic environment. Number 6, your manager is never your friend. Unless you can get away with calling them a cunt, they let you make full lunch feasts at work in your work time for the whole office, and you're late to work every day and they don't care as long as the work is done. Your manager is not your friend. Derek is the only manager I will ever big up because he's the only manager who created that environment where I wanted to be at work, where I enjoyed my job, and I didn't mind going the extra mile because of how wonderful it was to be around him and in his workspace. Unless you have a Derek in your life, do not trust your manager 99.9% of the time. Number 7, invest in your environment. I don't care if it's a painting or a plant that you're probably going to overwater. Just make your space look nice. I can 100% guarantee it will help your mental well-being. Being in a space where you feel comfortable in is so important. Every time I've moved house, I have made it my mission to make sure I make it as comfortable as possible and make it as homely as possible so that I'm comfortable within that space. Everything has a place in my room so that I know where everything is. And it's the one space that I want to make sure I feel safe in. So if you're looking for a sign to renovate or decorate or do a DIY project to make your room look nicer, this is your sign. Number 8, be mindful of your money. Perhaps another note to my younger self, fun money is great, but don't waste your money on dumb shit. Each to their own, but the few things that I've cut down on heavily over the years is fashion. I love clothes and I still do, but there was a phase in my life where I'd do weekly fashion hauls on Snapchat and send them to my friends and be like, I bought this and I bought that. But over the years, I know I still have clothes in my wardrobe with tags on them. The amount of shoes I bought, oh my goodness. I currently have a few shoes stacked up that I need to sell, and I'm currently using 2 of them as my tripod. But what was the point of buying them? I've probably worn them once, or I've never worn them and I just bought them because they were either on sale or I thought, oh my God, these look amazing, but I've never worn them. And that was such a waste of money. So reevaluating your money is a must. Number 9, force yourself to read if you don't read already. There's a book for every thought, every opinion, every concept ever thought of humanly possible. There's a book for it. And I love books in terms of the art of it as well because they are very beautiful. More importantly, I feel like since I've started reading, I'm gaining knowledge about things I never knew. Over time, I've read more books that are more relatable to me in terms of being South Asian, as well as reading books that I wouldn't usually read just to challenge myself a little bit. And challenging yourself is good because you gain knowledge about a certain topic or a thing or a concept that you weren't aware of before. Either way, I do wish I read sooner because when I was younger, I used to despise reading. I used to find it so boring. I didn't understand it. But I think the best way to get into reading is read something that actually interests you. Read something that is relatable to you, and that way you can venture out and find other books that interest you. Number 10, sea moss. There's not really much to say about this, but I've been taking sea moss religiously for about a year, I want to say now. And I swear to God, I'm just not the same person ever since. There was a period that I took a break because I had run out, and I found myself to be more irritable, more exhausted, more physically fatigued. Even going to the gym wasn't that great. My sessions were not as great as they usually were in terms of strength. So sea moss as a supplement is incredible. I'd recommend to buy it dried because it's more cost effective and you can just make it yourself at home with a blender. And since this is a video about advice and things that I've learned over the years, sea moss is definitely a game changer. So if you can implement that into your diet, just take a spoon every morning, you will see the effects very quickly. Number 11, energy, crystals, and manifestation is real. There is power in words. Be careful how you speak to yourself. When I've been in negative periods mentally, I do catch myself talking negatively. Negative self-talk is like poison. Cut that shit out. I don't care if you don't feel like your greatest self right now, but you need to push yourself to clear out that energy, reconnect with yourself, remind yourself of who you are and how valuable you are as a person, because whatever you're going through shall pass. I'm not saying you have to force yourself to be fake positive 100% of the time, but be very aware of the power you hold to pick yourself back up. In terms of crystals, you can use them to amplify your manifestations and the energy around you. And I've definitely used them over the years in terms of using citrine, which is a crystal for abundance. And I used that for the first time when I moved out. And you might be listening to this and think, oh yeah, crystals don't work and blah, 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 because I used to be like that, but don't knock it till you try it. And side note, for anyone who has tried Moldavite, I've tried it and hands down, it's possibly been the worst year of my life, but I do feel better. I do feel like I've been forced into the path that I should be in. So not all is too bad. Number 12, no one cares. Honestly, be your own person because no one cares. Trying to be something that you're not makes the parts of you that you're trying to hide a lot more obvious. As soon as I overcame my fear of judgment, which I had experienced my entire life from my family, from my relatives, from my chat shit aunties and uncles, from strangers in my community, it gave me a real sense of freedom to just not care. Even with this podcast, it takes a certain level of vulnerability to put yourself out there. But as a result, I've accomplished my goal to reach individuals who might be going through similar experiences as me, and most importantly, to know that they're not alone. Number 13, life is unfair. Bad things happen when you least expect them to. Yes, it's soul-shattering, and we've been placed here to experience the human experience, so you can only do your best and take every day as it comes. Number 14, have a routine. I pride myself in being quite organized, and without a routine, I feel quite lazy, but having a morning or a night routine is a game changer. That could be stretching every morning, or going to the gym, cleaning out your room consistently, or it could be plaiting your hair before going to bed, or having a night tea to help you sleep better. Whatever it is for you, figure that out and put it into a routine. It forces you to be more organized, which naturally creates a sense of stability. Number 15, another note to myself, please be confident. There's been so much happening in my personal life that even my self-esteem took a bit of a dive, which is so unlike me. I've always been a very confident person and I embrace my insecurities. But recently that changed a little bit because the universe has just been throwing 100 things my way. So it has been very overwhelming and discouraging. I'm relearning to be extra kind to myself, to always remember that I am beautiful and so are you. And if you too have been feeling a little bit like me, this is your reminder to please be kind to yourself, please love yourself, and remember to be confident. Number 16, please don't be a people pleaser. Saying no is a must. People pleasing only disappoints yourself, and this should also be applied to jobs. Number 17, please leave that toxic environment. Paying with your sanity will make you go insane. Number 18, learning to effectively communicate. I know my girlfriend is probably watching just being like, wow, Amma, like, wow, you've come a long way, haven't you? Because I used to be quite defensive. This is something that I've had to learn within my relationship. I really hate arguing. And like any relationship, there is obviously going to be arguments and disagreements. If you go into that conversation with a closed mind, or you're defensive, or you don't have the capacity for you to think straight, it's difficult to effectively communicate in that conversation, and it's likely that conversation will spiral. So to avoid that, have an open heart, have an open mind, and have open ears towards what the other person is saying. And hopefully that will help you resolve situations much better and quicker without them spiraling. Number 20, wait. you thought I forgot number 19. Well, I did. And I'm sorry, but I remembered I forgot number 19 on the train to Reading. And I internally screamed, then pulled up my script to check, and I realized I forgot the point that I was most afraid to share. Now, as I'm recording this, I'm 25 and I did actually see my mother on my birthday, which I was hopeful about since I had been no contact with her for months, but it didn't go well. Before I tell you what happened, I'll go ahead and share. Number 19, love them from a distance. Deep down, I love my mum very much. It pains me actually as to how much I love her, and sometimes I wish I was ignorant towards why our relationship is so broken, because it'd be easier to hate her. But I can't, because I know she also has trauma. But I do love her from a distance, and I hope that in the future we can give each other the love that we both need. Right now, there's just so much resentment that I don't even know how to forgive her. It's easier to love from a distance for now. That being said, I might have to take it back slightly. On the morning of my birthday, my mother ended an uncomfortable conversation with telling me she regrets having me. So, can I love her from a distance? Maybe. Do I need to force a relationship? No. Anyways, on to the next. Number 20, it is your responsibility to heal. One of my biggest goals for 25 is going to therapy. A lot of the hardships and abuse that I faced was very much out of my control. Life is unfair, but it is my responsibility to go and heal, to break the cycle, and to not project my pain onto others. Number 21, discipline. My 80-year-old neighbor told me this advice, and he's just a very sweet old man that I've known since I was probably 5. He said to me, Amen, whatever you decide to do in your life, always remember to be disciplined. Initially, I took discipline as punishment for myself, meaning that I had to restrict myself from things, but that is really far from the truth. Discipline should be used to love yourself, actually. For example, exercise. I discipline myself to go for a run or go to the gym because I know it's going to make me feel good. Even though getting there is difficult, and even though I'm like, I really don't want to do it, I don't want to go. Once I've exercised, I've got the endorphins, I feel good, I feel energetic, I feel alive. That's going to help me feel better within myself and love myself more because I decided to be disciplined. Number 22, learn to cook. Being a good cook is within your hands, quite literally. Experiment with spices, try a week of meal prepping, invest in HelloFresh if you want, try buying a new cookbook, whatever it is, teach yourself how to cook. Being able to cook has saved me so much money and time, and as well as being able to treat my friends and my partner to wonderful meals is a nice feeling rather than coming back from work and thinking, let me just order a takeout because I'm too lazy. In the 15 minutes that it's going to take my food to arrive, in 15 minutes, I can whip up something very quickly and feed myself and also have meal prep for the next day. So that's why I'd advise you to learn how to cook if you don't already know, because it is such a valuable skill to have. Number 23, let your big emotions out. I'm a very emotional person and I feel things very deeply. I'm learning to continue embracing that part of myself. There have been times where I've been unable to let my emotions out in the fear of being too much or thinking that my emotions are too big. I don't want to be an inconvenience for the people around me or take up too much space. Whatever it is, I've allowed myself to have those big emotions and let those big emotions out. I know that it's not going to last forever, but it's really important for me to feel them deeply and feel those big emotions, because if I don't, I feel very suffocated. Number 24, make it about yourself. I recently had a really good friend call me out on my bullshit, which made me feel a little bit attacked, but not in a bad way, but almost like, wow, you've caught me red-handed. I messaged her about something I was going through and I was really struggling with it and I was really upset. I had this habit where within the same message of me trying to express me going through a hard time, I'll put 3 other mini messages within the same message about something completely different, completely random, nothing to do with the big thing that's upsetting me, in the hopes of it masking how upset I am. If that doesn't make sense to you, what I'm trying to say is that instead of just saying that, hi, I'm upset, that can we make this about me being upset, I'm too afraid to take up space, similar to the last piece of advice as I mentioned. But I know I do it because I want to just cover it up and pretend like it doesn't exist and just run away from my emotions. But my friend said to me like, hey, I don't like it when you do this, because if you're going to come to me saying that you're obsessed about something, she wants to be there for me. She can't just focus on 4 different things knowing that I'm trying to run away from it. And within that, she was saying how when I do go to my friends for support, and I just casually mention it through passing conversation about X and Y happened today and this really upset me, and then suddenly say something else, people don't know how to respond to that because they think, oh, maybe I don't want to talk about it. So they don't give me the response that I need, which ultimately leaves me disappointed. But what do I expect when I can't just fully, openly express that, hey, this is upsetting me. Can we focus on this? And coming to that realization of, damn, I need to really make it about myself when I need my friends, that it is okay to take up space, that my friends are not going to run away from that it's me who's running away, was really eye-opening for me. And I'm so glad that my friend caught me on my bullshit. That it is your responsibility to say, I need help, that I need support, that you need to make it about yourself. So I guess it's make it about yourself, ask for the help that you need, stop running away, and it's okay to take up space. Last one, number 25, be present. I was close to death this year, and sometimes I can't believe that I'm alive. If you don't live in the present, you waste so much time wishing for the impossible. You're never going to be 18 again, you're never going to be 24, and you're never going to be 45 again. So live each moment intentionally. Please remember how alive you are and not to take things so seriously, which is easier said than done because, especially for me, I feel so deeply. But deep down, I know nothing really matters, that none of this is real, that we're just having a humanly experience on this floating rock. So please remember to live in the present with no regrets. Wow, a lot has been said there. It's my birthday tomorrow, and this is the first year where I don't feel that excited. And it's really weird because I'm such a birthday person. I've always loved my birthday. I'm always excited. But this year, it's really weird because I don't feel like that. I just want to be happy on my birthday, and I really want to be present and just embrace life because I know how many hardships I had this year. And I don't mean it in a way where I'm sad because that's not the case either. I just think I've come to the point of acceptance, a point of embracing change. I hope for the coming year that I live more in the present. I want to sleep in peace, and I want to promise myself to work in a job where I'm genuinely happy, to not let the pressure of getting older get to me. I'm in my own race and no one is my competition but me. That whatever is meant to be will be, so why do I need to worry? And I cannot wait to see who I become in the following year. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. Drop me a DM, drop me an email, drop me a comment, whatever it is, I'd be very appreciative. To those of you who have made it this far, I want to thank you again for your time, for watching, for listening. It means the world to me. I've always said that I don't care if it's just one person, I just hope it helps someone. I hope you feel less alone, that we are all just trying our best. I thank you for watching. I thank you for listening. Thank you so much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. सत श्री अकाल. Bye.